Alright, we're starting part 2 of the mini bike build with a little bit of a rim repair. This is the rear rim and it had a tube in it because there was rust and there was no valve stem in there. So I'm just repairing that area, knocking off the rust, and we're going to shoot it with some primer to prevent rust from coming back. Now let that set up for a little bit and then we're going to install our new stem. Spray a little bit of WD-40 on there to ease it in and just use a long pair of needle nose and pop it into place. Now I did the same thing to the front, but I didn't show that on camera. Now we're moving on to the bearings. These are those old C's bearings. We're taking a rod and we're going to slightly move the spacing rod out of the way so we can tap the inside of the bearing to get it out. I'm just using a long rod here with a hammer and just tapping it out. Takes a couple taps, pops right out. There's the spacer that we moved out of the way, and now we can just tap the bearing from the other side. And now it's time to put the new bearings in. I set the bearing in place. I put an old bearing on top of it. That way I'm tapping on the old bearing, not damaging the new bearing. Once you get that in, go ahead and flip it around, insert your spacer, then your bearing, and repeat the process. After we install these tubeless tires, we have to inflate them. We spray some carb cleaner in there, light it on fire, and boom, it seats the tire. It's the easiest way to do this. We'll go ahead and pump it up, make sure it holds air, and there it is. Nice and solid, holding plenty of air, so that new valve worked fine. Went ahead and installed a wire wheel on my buffer. We're going to take care of this rear disc. It had quite a bit of rust on it. It could use a good cleaning. This is a fast way to do it. Just holding it, getting it all over front and back. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing. See, that's nice and clean, to our rear sprocket. Same process, just roll it over it all over. Here's a different angle. You can see it's already looking better. It does not look new by any means, but it looks 100% better, as you'll see here in just a moment. And there it is. And next we're going to reinstall those pieces. We're going to start with the disc. It is actually, this tire is, the shaft is longer on one side than it is the other. The longer shaft gets the disc, so it has room for the rear brake. Go ahead and zap those all in. Then we're going to go ahead and take our hand ratchet and make sure they're tight. This is for two boys and I don't want them to get hurt. And now we're going to install the sprocket. Same exact process. And there it is, all done. Doesn't look new, but it looks close enough to me. And again, 100% better than what we started out with. And next I'm going to take a look at these fenders. The front fender, as you see here, has a little bit of a bend in it, like a crease on both sides. So I'm just using cheapo Harbor Freight hammer and dolly set. And it just takes a few smacks. You can see it's pretty straight now. Same thing on the other side. Go ahead and take a dolly and the hammer and do the same thing. Again, just a couple smacks and it's good as new. Now we're going to go ahead and sand that area because there was a little bit of rust under there where those were bent because it was already cracked and exposed to the elements. We just get that all nice and cleaned up. And now the stickers. We've got to take all these stickers off. Some of these are warning labels, but there were a lot of Harley Davidson stickers on this mini bike. So apparently the previous owner to my buddy, which is also my other buddy, must have thought he was riding a hog down the highway because he liked some Harley Davidson stickers. After we get them off, we scuff them down and then we use some goof off to actually get the residue off. You see here, the goof off is actually taking the layer of oxidation off and turning the natural color, so it's pretty powerful. And again, with the rear, more stickers and more Harley Davidson stickers. It just never ended. And then we're going to take our Scotch-Brite and do a final cleanup, get them ready for paint. All right, it's about 8:30 in the evening. It's Sunday, November 19th, and we're going to call it a night here. A lot of the things you see here, you may have not seen in the video that I posted today. Those will be in an upcoming video, but I want to give you kind of a little update here. Here are the wheels, tires, the fenders. We've got our pegs, kickstand, wheel spacers, and then we've got our front fork and our frame. Now, in the previous video, I mentioned I was not going to separate these two. I just went ahead and did it. There was a little bit of dirt in between them, so I went ahead and just separated those. And the paint we use for this one is a little bit different than I've used in the past. This is the Rust-Oleum acrylic enamel, so hopefully it holds up well. They did not have the roll bar paint. Now, I did prime the frame and the actual forks. I did not prime the fenders. And you can see some of the scratches. This is not from me. These were a little bit beat up. This is a semi-gloss, so they look pretty good. They're not too shiny, not too dull. That's it. And we've got our motor here. He did go ahead and buy the Harbor Freight. So the old one, we're not going to use that. We've got our new throttle assembly and grips, our chain, and of course, if you watch this video, we've already put the bearings in, and we got new tires. Please feel free to post any questions or comments, and thanks for watching.